Simba decided to join me in the studio today. Yeah, this is Simba, my little love, my little guy. He doesn't like to be held, so I'm going to put him down, but he's going to meow. Yeah, he's ready for his afternoon feed. Yeah, I know. Just a minute. Okay. So welcome back to my art vlog. I'm Cheryl Hunter, and I am going to update you on my experience with the Milan Art Institute Art Mastery Program. And today I'd like to just do a kind of a review of part one. So that was 14 weeks, 16 weeks actually, but some of those weeks were breaks where we didn't really do anything but finish up projects or just take a break altogether. So this is my first 16 weeks in the program. Gosh, where to start? One of the things that I want to say is, I see a lot of other reviews online, and I also read a lot of comments on whether it's the lessons that are uploaded or just different kinds of social media posts that are made. And I find a lot of people, especially for part one, are rather critical about not the lessons necessarily, but the activities. So for example, drawing still life or charcoal drawings or alla prima versus old masters methods of painting, the subtraction process versus maybe directional paint strokes. So this is a huge amount of education in a compressed amount of time. It's a 1-year deal. I've taken a few college art courses. I did not go with the intent of getting any kind of degree in art. When I went to college, it was for a communications degree, and it basically, I had whatever art classes would fill the requirements. But I love art, so obviously I enjoyed those classes. And the reason I bring this up is what Milan offers is kind of, it's like an accelerated course in what you would normally learn in college classes. I know some of these methods from my past. I've been painting for a while. I'm nowhere near where I want to be, and definitely not up to par with other painters. But the only way I'm going to get there is by understanding all the methods, applying myself to them, and letting go of my assumptions about what art tutorial or art instruction should be. I don't know what art instruction should be. I know what works for me. What I will tell you is I can see the patterns in the classes they teach, the order they teach them, how they're set up. For example, when you have a week where you're going to be doing a painting like, like the first oil painting assignment was this portrait. I've done very few portraits in my life, and they weren't good at all. This surprised me. Not that it's that good or a good likeness of the source, but it surprised me that I was able to follow the instruction and get somewhat of an understanding of the color theory. But this one was using a subtractive method called the monster painting, which basically how some of the masters painted. And it was several layers over several days. So in between it drawing and in between the different assignments on how to go to the next layer, the next thing, the next step, we did other types of things. We did sketches or drawings. So some of the lessons have mixes of those things, but you can see the connection. For example, the foreshortening, this charcoal foreshortening drawing, that was very useful in doing some of my other paintings, like this one of my husband. This was an alla prima of my husband as he posed in a chair, and his knees were in front. His knees were closer to me than anything. And he was leaning back in the chair. So his head looks like a pinhead to me, but learning the foreshortening helped me with accomplishing that look. That's just one example. So I think that some people go in maybe with a certain mindset on what their expectation is, what they want to get out of it. And if it's not going at a pace that they like, then they're picking it apart. And I'm no problem with people's opinions and them picking things apart. I think it's good to have a critical view of things. There are things I could critique, definitely, about it. There are some things that I found maybe were just a little bit of filler or fluff in the lessons, but I tried to look at, well, how can these things really fit in to help hone my skills? There was a lot of emphasis in part one about learning how to stay in your right brain. And that's a necessity, whether people believe it or want to face it or not. If you're an artist, you got to be able to at least have a healthy balance. I know for me, one of the things I've always enjoyed doing is architectural drawing. Usually it's functionally because I usually am trying to design something that I want my husband to build. Or when I was a gymnastics director, gym owner, and we had our own gym, and we moved into a building and we needed to figure out how we were going to set up our equipment in an efficient manner. So I take graph paper, and of course I'm measuring and I'm sketching out and I'm drawing little scaled down measuring spaces of each piece of equipment and then placing them in the square footage. So that was very left-brained, but there's a creative side of that comes from my right brain. So it's a function of both sides in that instance. The same with Google Spreadsheets. When I work Google Spreadsheets, I don't know why, but for some reason that gives me the greatest joy, no matter how frustrated I get trying to find the right formula. And in most of the jobs I've had to do some kind of spreadsheet and math formula for whatever financials or whatever we're working on. So that left brain work, though, I find my right brain stimulated because to me, figuring out formulas and getting something to add up and fill out a form the way I want it to is very creative. It's very right brain. It's important. For me to be able to recognize shapes and shadows and forms and paint them accurately, I have to be able to relax and just see those forms, not allow myself to look at the actual image. I struggle with that because my left brain is so dominant sometimes. And yet I have an imagination that is off the wall, and I have vivid, lucid dreams. So I know that my right brain is very strong as well. I think my life sometimes is so structured that I have to stay in that left brain to keep things going and organized. So I loved the assignments that helped us step out of that. John's assignments were, a lot of free-flowing drawing and abstract stuff that made me just let myself go and not be so caught up in if it looked like anything or if my lines were straight or whatever. So I think if people just relax and go with the flow in this part one of the series, they're a lot better off than if they're trying to if they're trying to figure out, what does this mean? Why do I have to do this? You're setting yourself up for frustration. Just go with the flow. And remember, nobody's judging this unless you have one of the mentors who are looking at your work, or unless when you post it and other people look at it, you ask for critiques. You're not going to necessarily no one's going to look at it and say, wow, you're horrible, you need to just quit this. It's not going to happen that way. There's a lot of support, especially in the art. You go on the Art Social feed, and you can get all kinds of support. You can get real good feedback and critiques. You can get encouragement. It's wonderful. It's very supportive, and every single assignment has meant something to me along the way. I learned so much, and everything you see up here, I didn't put all of my work up here, but all of the paintings are up here that I did in class, except a couple of them that aren't worth looking at. But I did show those, I think, in previous videos, so it's not like I'm hiding them. Anyway, but this is the culmination of part one. This was the final painting for my final assignment. However, the more I look at it, the more I don't like it. The more I see things that need to be fixed. And I asked for a critique on the Art Social feed, and I got a lot of good feedback on this. So I am going to go back and I'm going to make some of those changes. Because what's the worst that'll happen? It's not a commission. It's not anything. I can always redo it if I mess it up. So I'm not worried about that. I want to learn. So I want to go back in and see if I can fix it according to the suggestions. Because even when I look at it, it's like, there's something about it I don't like. So if you're thinking about taking this course, or if you just started this course, I just want to encourage you to go with the flow in part one. When you do the charcoal, I didn't have room to put up like the city scene and the people scenes and all that. That's frustrating, because especially the architecture one, I should have put it up so you could see it. But I mean, it was kind of the prelude to this one, the architecture one. This painting job up here, I didn't really go back and finish. There's no detail on it. So I'm probably going to finish that because one of my friends really liked it, and I told them I would finish it so they could have it. But the charcoal assignment leading up to this was it was frustrating unless you're used to painting perspective and lines, and I'm terrible at straight lines. My hands shake, I'm not accurate. That's something I need to work on. So I can measure accurately and I can put the dots in the place, and if I use a straight edge I can do pretty well, but to freehand things or to paint steadily along a line that needs to be a nice thin line, even like those lampposts, it's tricky for me. But that's what the assignment's for. So when you get to that particular one, I want to say it's week 7, 8, 9, somewhere in there. Anyway, the charcoal city scene. You are going to probably be frustrated and think it's so hard, but trust me, once you finish it, you're going to feel so good about it. You're going to realize how much you've learned. So don't beat yourself up. Any one of these assignments, again, like I said, no one sees them but you. And any one of these assignments, you can always go start over and do it again. When we have a break, if you're like, God, that one lesson just killed me, I couldn't get it right, go try it again. Because it is all about practice. Some people are born with a brain that can easily do these things, or they don't have shaky hands, or they're not 63 years old like me and have vision issues and shaky hands. So not everybody is the same, but everyone can learn. And you'll hear this over and over from Ellie and from Demetra. And I feel like if you just go with the flow and trust yourself and trust the program, that you'll come out fine. Nobody knows I'm even doing this review. So Milan, they don't even know who I am other than my name on their account. So it's not like I'm endorsing this for any reason other than I want to share with you my opinion. And my opinion is that this is well worth it. And I don't know what the outcome is. I know that I probably will not paint in the style that Demetra or Ellie or John, I won't paint in the style they paint because that's not really my thing. I'm still trying to figure out what my thing is, but I know that although I love the work they do, it's not the kind of work I really want to do. But that's okay. I will find my style. In the meantime, I'm learning so many new things that when I do come to the point in the program where I need to hone in on my style and start working on my portfolio, I've got so many different skills and so many different options that I can pull from. You know, if you only focus on one genre and one, like just watercolor or just acrylics or just oils, you might become a fabulous artist in those areas. But if you're not sure what your deal is yet, this is so great to be able to figure out, what am I good at? What do I enjoy? And what do I really feel draws me to want to paint over and over again, or to want to dive into? And I know there's a lot ahead of me in part 2. But I want to thank you for coming along on this adventure so far. And please comment and let me know if you are in the program, where you are. If you're thinking about the program and have any questions, let me know. I'm happy to fill you in on anything I can. And I want to bring up too, somebody asked me one of my previous videos about showing how we did the L doodle theory, John's L theory doodles. I haven't done that yet, but one of the reasons I kind of want to ask them first if it's okay if I demonstrate that, because I realize that a lot of the stuff I talk about is part of their lesson. So I don't want to be exposing something I shouldn't be. I don't know that they really would mind, but I'm just going to get his permission first. And if I can get permission to just do a video on what I think, how my doodle comes out, I'm glad to do that video. So just want to let you know that. Anyway, I think that's it. And so here we go, part 1. And I'm going to try to find homes for most of these paintings, and some of them might end up gessoed over. I don't know. We might be using them for something else. But best of luck to you if you're just starting out, and keep going. And those of you who have gone ahead of me, I would really appreciate your feedback, and let me know what you think of part 1, and maybe you have something else to add. So have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.